Good afternoon, CDF News Network watchers. Today's top news story revolves around the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, specifically the current development in the Israel-Palestine conflict, which has escalated dramatically over the past few weeks. So, I'm going to start doing a top news story of the day kind of thing on this channel just to create some extra content. Also, just to break away from the traditional mainstream media of just politics only. If you turn on the TV or watch a lot of other stuff on the internet, you mostly see the political stuff still, and you might have missed a few things. So I figured I'd cover the conflict of the Middle East today and break it down a little bit. Alright, so I guess to start off, we'll cover background of the conflict. To provide some context, the Israeli-Palestine conflict has been a long-standing and deeply rooted geopolitical issue for decades of historical, religious, and territorial disputes between Israel and the Palestinian territories, particularly Gaza and the West Bank. The situation has numerous flare-ups of violence, but what makes the current escalation especially significant is the scope of casualties and international response. So, I was born in 85, and as far as I can remember, there's always been some conflict going on over there. I remember when it got bad there a few years back, but nothing was as crazy as what we're seeing now, or, well, how this one started. Definitely some scary times. Recent escalation over the past few weeks, the conflict has intensified following a large-scale attack by Hamas on Israel. In response to Israel has launched extensive airstrikes in Gaza, which has led to tragic loss of life on both sides. Reports estimate that thousands have been killed or joined, and millions of civilians are facing dire conditions in the region. The humanitarian situation deteriorating rapidly, with both sides accusing each other of committing war crimes. What makes the situation particularly devastating is the targeting of civilians, infrastructure including hospitals, schools, and refugee camps, leading to widespread displacement. The UN has called for immediate ceasefire talks, but so far, breakthrough has not been made. Yeah, so it's crazy how many civilian people on both sides are being affected by this. I don't think I've seen anything in my lifetime that's been this bad. I mean, like, yeah, the war in Ukraine's pretty rough, and Russia's done some pretty barbaric stuff, but I think for the conflict in the Middle East, this is a bit wilder. I mean, that's just my opinion. You may disagree, and I respect that. So I guess let's just cover the international reactions to this over it. The international community has been deeply divided on the issue. Western countries, particularly the United States, have expressed strong support for Israel's right to defend itself, while also urging them to take measures to minimize civilian casualties. On the other hand, many countries in the Middle East, along with human rights organizations, have condemned Israel's actions, calling for an immediate halt to airstrikes and peaceful resolution to the conflict. Protests have erupted worldwide, with demonstrations held in major cities calling for an end to the violence and gathering international involvement in peace negotiations. Many are questioning the role of global powers in facilitating peace talks and whether enough is being done to prevent further loss of life. I'm sure you guys are all aware, but President Joe Biden just okayed more military personnel and aircraft to head that way, just to try to prevent it from escalating, or to be there to help if it does escalate. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but it doesn't look too promising. The humanitarian impact. One of the most pressuring aspects of the conflict is the humanitarian crisis. The United Nations has warned of potential collapse of Gaza medical system, which hospitals overwhelmed and shortages of essential supplies like food, water, and medicine. The situation is especially dire for children who are suffering not only from the immediate violence but from the long-term trauma associated with living in conflict zones. Um, I don't know how true it is because obviously I'm not there, but I do remember within the last few days seeing something about there was only one hospital still up and running in Gaza, and that had no power. Um, that's a pretty scary thing right there. Yeah, that's wild. I can't imagine that happening somewhere, but here it is in front of our own eyes happening. Uh, there is a potential path forward, though. While the immediate future of the conflict remains uncertain, experts are calling for renewed diplomatic efforts, including a potential ceasefire or humanitarian corridors to avoid or to allow aid to reach civilians in Gaza. However, achieving a lasting peace will require addressing the root cause of the conflict, such as the state of Jerusalem, the rights of Palestinians to self determination, and the ongoing blockade of Gaza. Some are advocating for a two-state solution, while others suggest a more radical approach to resolve the conflict, but it's clear that the road to peace will be long and fraught with challenges. Yeah, I think this one's going to be a tricky one. Um, Obviously, we're going to have two separate groups still living there, regardless of the outcome. Um, I think a two state solution would work, but in my personal opinion, um, as long as Hamas is in charge of the government on the Palestinian side, I don't think that a two-state solution would work. Just from my knowledge of how Hamas operates. So that's just my opinion. Like I said, this news network is just to bring you the facts, not make you have opinions. You're supposed to come up with your own opinions and go educate yourself and look up everything I'm saying. I'm just making it clear that's my opinion. In the comments, tell me what your opinion is. I'd like to have a debate, honest, good debate, no hatred. You're just see other people's sides and why they think that way, and I don't know, maybe that will help all of us get together and start talking about it in a different way than we've been talking about it. There's always hope. Alright, I guess we should get to the conclusion of this because this is supposed to be a quick topic for the day. Alright, in conclusion, the ongoing conflict in the Middle East remains one of the most critical and complex issues facing the world today, which leaves lost on both sides and the international community divided. It's clear that finding a peaceful resolution will require both diplomatic will and commitment to human rights. The coming days will be crucial in determining whether any progress can be made towards de-escalation or if the situation will continue to spiral out of control. Thank you for your attention, and I'll be happy to discuss any questions you may have on this topic. Just down there in those comment section down below, you can put it in there. Make sure you address it at me so that way it highlights it and easier for me to find, and I'd love to have a discussion. Thank you for watching CDF News Network. This is Chris. I hope you guys have a good night, and one last thing, working on a short little clip with AI graphics on Project Looking Glass. That should be out Friday. I'll keep you posted if that changes, but should be at least 10-15 minutes of good entertainment. I actually was inspired by AJ from the Y-Files. He a while back did Project Looking Glass, and then got me interested, and I started looking into it more, and I found a few things that he didn't cover that I thought was interesting, so I'm going to cover. Obviously, my show's not going to be as cool and well prepared as AJ's from the Y-Files, but we're working on getting this channel here. Um, till then, till our next meeting tomorrow, tonight, whenever I come back, tomorrow for sure, but I might put one more out tonight. Hope you guys have a blessed day, and thank you for watching CDF News Network. Like, subscribe, and share, please, and thank you. You guys have a good day.